Hello guys! Today we're going to talk about When the Body Says No. This book review goes far beyond surface level takeaways. In 10 parts, we explore the core ideas, key example, scientific insights, and powerful lessons Dr. Maté shares about how repressed emotions can literally shape our biology. Stay with us till the end and don't forget to like and subscribe. Number 1. Introduction. The central question. Dr. Gabor Maté, a Canadian physician and expert in addiction and mind-body medicine, opens the book with a provocative question. If emotions are an integral part of our physiology, what happens when we ignore them? Maté's answer forms the foundation of the book. When we chronically repress our emotions, especially anger, fear, or sadness, our bodies eventually express what our minds suppress. That expression can come in the form of illness, chronic fatigue, or even life-threatening disease. He argues that many physical illnesses are not random genetic misfortunes, but the result of a lifetime of unconscious emotional self-denial and chronic stress. Number 2. The cause of hidden stress. Emotional repression as a coping strategy. Maté explains that emotional repression is not weakness or moral failure. It begins early in life as a survival mechanism. Children depend on their parents' love and approval for survival. If expressing anger, sadness, or fear threatens that bond, the child learns to suppress these emotions to stay good and accepted. Over time, this pattern becomes automatic even when it's no longer necessary. The child who had to suppress their feelings to be loved will grow into an adult who doesn't know what they feel. This lifelong pattern leads to chronic internal stress, which disrupts the delicate balance of their nervous system, hormonal system, and immune system, what Maté called the mind-body unity. Number 3. The mind-body connection. How stress becomes disease. Dr. Maté presents scientific evidence that chronic stress profoundly alters the body's internal chemistry. The HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal system, which governs the stress response, becomes dysregulated when emotions are continually suppressed. Prolonged stress raises cortisol and adrenaline, weakens immune function, and increases inflammation. Over years or decades, this imbalance can contribute to autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis or lupus, heart disease, cancer, chronic fatigue, irritable bowel syndrome, and other stress-related disorders. He explains that the immune system and emotions are deeply intertwined. When people repress anger, for example, their immune cells also stand down, making them more vulnerable to disease. Number 4. Case studies. The human face of disease. Throughout the book, Maté illustrates his arguments with powerful patient stories, such as ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Many ALS patients he encountered were self-sacrificing, stoic individuals who never expressed frustration. Their emotional rigidity mirrored the progressive rigidity of their muscles. Breast cancer. Women who suppressed anger and focused on others' needs while neglecting their own often develop cancer later in life. Maté doesn't blame them. He shows how emotional self-denial becomes biologically toxic. Multiple sclerosis. Some patients experience flare-ups after emotional trauma or loss. Maté suggests that unprocessed grief and emotional isolation accelerate the disease. The body doesn't distinguish between stress that is physical or stress that is emotional. Both demand a physiological price. Number 5. The role of childhood and attachment. A major theme of the book is how early life experiences shape adult health. When parents are emotionally unavailable, controlling, or inconsistent, children learn that authenticity, showing real feelings, is unsafe. Instead of expressing themselves, they adapt to becoming the good child, the helper, the achiever. But this adaptation creates a split between the self that feels and the self that pleases. Then, what is the price of that split? Yeah, chronic tension, emotional disconnection, and vulnerability to disease. We learn to disconnect from our feelings to survive childhood, but that disconnection is what harms us later in life. Number 6. The biology of boundaries. One of Maté's most powerful ideas is that saying no is a biological act of self-preservation. When we consistently override our boundaries, saying yes to things that exhaust or harm us, the body must eventually intervene. Hence, the title, When the Body Says No, physical symptoms become the body's way of shouting the truth we've been avoiding. That something in our emotional life needs to change. Learning to listen to that no before it becomes illness is the essence of healing. Number 7. Healing through awareness, compassionate self-inquiry. Maté is clear that awareness, not blame, is the path forward. He offers a framework he calls compassionate self-inquiry. It involves noticing your emotional patterns. When do you hide your feelings or prioritize others at your own expense? Reconnecting with your body, noticing sensations, fatigue or tension as information, not inconvenience. Setting boundaries, learning that saying no to others often means saying yes to yourself. Honoring anger and sadness, seeing them as natural signals of unmet needs, not moral failings. Revisiting childhood with compassion, understanding that repression once protected you, but now it limits you. Healing, in Maté's view, doesn't mean curing disease overnight. It means restoring authenticity and emotional truth. Number 8. The broader implications. Maté expands his discussion beyond individuals to critique modern society. He argues that Western culture itself encourages emotional repression, rewarding productivity, politeness, and self-sacrifice while punishing vulnerability or emotional honesty. Workplace stress, lack of social support, and cultural ideals of strength all contribute to illness. In a society that says never slow down, illness becomes the body's only way of forcing rest. Number 9. Key codes and takeaways. Stress occurs in the absence of authenticity. We can't heal what we don't feel. Illness is not a failure of individual, but a message from the body. When we shut down emotion, we're also affecting our immune system, our nervous system, and our hormonal balance. The opposite of stress is not relaxation, it is authenticity. The invitation to listen. In the end, When the Body Says No is not just a medical book. It's a call for emotional honesty. Maté asks us to stop ignoring our inner signals, to treat our feelings not as nuisance, but as guides. Healing begins when we finally listen, when we recognize that the body speaks the mind's truth. When you live your truth, your body doesn't need to shout.